How's everybody doing on this fine day? One of the things that I always think about all the time is how fast our society evolves, evolution. We're always growing. We're always finding new things. We're always learning. But at the same time, we have to be able to remember that our companies need to grow at the same speed. Yeah, I might learn AI, type some stuff in, and then all of a sudden the AI chat tells me 15 things I need to know, and within 30 seconds, I'm a genius. But companies evolve a little bit slower than that. And it's hard to get that companies to move at the same speed because we have a culture that already loves us. We have a culture that wants to come on board with us and everything in between. So with that being said, I wanted to bring somebody on that is making this culture shift, this change shift, and making sure that they're positioned correctly in the future. I want to thank Glance for helping this meeting take place, but we have nothing other than the president of Signcomp, Justin Murray, on the podcast with us. Thank you very much for coming on board with us.
Thanks, Aaron. It's good to be here. Coming to you from snowy Grand Rapids, Michigan. We got about 2 feet of snow on the ground. You can see behind me. And thanks for having me. This is my second podcast of my whole life. So bear with me here.
No, not a problem. Well, I won't go into the weather here in San Diego, but I'm glad you're wearing a jacket.
Yeah.
I think I own one. I think I own only one jacket.
I know. I was looking to travel this week, but I think the place I was supposed to go was even worse. I was supposed to go to the Missouri area. I think it's like -17 wind chill. So I got to find some time out west here soon, visit you guys in SoCal.
Well, we'd love to have you host over here. So before we get started, I always like to talk to each person I interview and ask, give us your background. Tell us a little bit about yourself. The floor is yours, my friend.
Sure. Well, I'm from Michigan originally. Went to Michigan State. That's the green and white school. So we had a tough few weeks watching our rival win the national championship, but did my undergrad there and started off in finance for a few years, working in wealth management. Then went back to school, went back to Michigan State and did my MBA. And then from there, worked in a bunch of different Fortune 500 companies. I worked for Mars Incorporated, which Mars sells pet food and chocolate and gum, and did a bunch of different things for them, sales, marketing, and procurement. And then wanted to get out of some of these other big cities like Chicago and New York and move back to Michigan. So I left Mars and worked for a company called Stryker Medical, and they sell really anything in the hospital beds, orthopedic instruments, knees, hips, everything across the board. And so I worked for them for the last 8 years in marketing and then some mergers and acquisitions. So really spent most of my career in different corporate roles, and it was time for me to get out of that. And so I just didn't really like the all the bureaucracy of a massive company, and it always had some interest in kind of small business ownership. And so I left Stryker on a mission to find a company that would be a good fit for me to join, that was a little bit smaller. And so met the previous owners of Signcomp, and it really just as we kind of kept talking, it became clear that it was going to be a really good fit. And so as of March 2023, I came on board at Signcomp as an owner as well as the president.
Gotcha. Well, good background there. I appreciate that. The signage industry, we're a bunch of, we're a motley crew. Let's not lie. We got artists, we got business guys, we got accountants, we got drawers, we got installers. We got guys that like to hang out the sides of the building because their adrenaline needs it. It's a little bit of walk of life. How easy or bad was that culture shock for you?
Oh, I honestly, it's been a lot of fun. I mean, I think, coming from the hospital environment, you work with a lot of surgeons, so you're used to kind of some different big personalities, big egos. And I would say coming to the sign industry, you get a little bit of that, but there are a lot of just really fun, hardworking people, that will challenge you, but that will also, willing to teach you. I'm new to this industry, and I've had many customers reach out, just willing to have me at their facility to teach me things. So I would say it has been a really welcoming industry, and it's a small industry too. I think that's something that I found is in my 9 or so months, you kind of meet the 25 or 50 people around the industry that seem to make it, seem to make it go. So it's been a change, but it's been a lot of fun, and it's refreshing to kind of see, like you said, all the different backgrounds of our customers, and kind of seeing that there really is no one path to anything.
Yeah, that's really true. It really is funny. It is a small world. As you get older, it even gets smaller. So you're saying 25 or 50 people that kind of make it move. I'm going to second that. I really am. Yeah. So one of the things that you and I were discussing earlier before we hopped on this podcast is kind of the culture that we're having to deal with, and it's not a good thing. It's the problems of finding the skilled workforce. Problems to find somebody that's worth something, that wants to take the time, effort, energy, and has that sense of integrity of a job well done. We're feeling that. We've been, a lot of the sign owners have been complaining about this for many years, that we can't find good employees. You guys are kind of doing a different take on that. Can you kind of expound upon that a little bit for us?
Sure. I mean, I think that there are two different things that our products do. Number one, assuming you have all the labor you need, our products, that Extrusion is really there to help you speed up the amount of throughput, the number of signs that you can get through your shop. That's really 25 years ago when Signcomp was invented. That's really was the mission, is to make it simpler and to be able to get more signs through the shop. I think over time, what we're realizing is that if you don't have labor, then maybe extrusion's even more important, because then what you can do is you can get your very best skilled fabricators working on, maybe the hardest, most difficult projects, and you can get your newer employees still to build signs using Signcomp in a quicker and more efficient way. So it's kind of being able to, when you're limited with your labor choice, putting people in the right spots. Whereas, if you're building everything more custom, you may not have the skill there in order to do that. And so I think over the last, this has been going on for a while, but I think COVID obviously really accelerated it. And we're having a lot of great conversations on being able to help customers through this. We deal with our own labor challenges here in Grand Rapids in our facility, and so we can certainly understand the challenge there. And I just glad that our products are there to help. And I think the one thing that we were thinking through COVID is, hey, when COVID's done, we're gonna get all these people back in the workforce, and things are going to be great. And I think, Aaron, you and I talked before the podcast, is we've seen some different statistics when it comes to demographics, and we're just not set up to see a big rise in the labor force over the next several years. So I think, unfortunately for all of us, we're probably going to be met with this problem for the next 5 to 7 years. And so that's why we're trying to, reimagine our business and try to reinvent ourselves, so that way we can be there for our customers and help them still achieve the great results that they're used to, and help them grow. And so that's, it's been a fun mission, and we see ourselves kind of as the foundation of the product. We're always going to be in the background. Signcomp's on this sign behind me. You can barely see it. But we do see ourselves as an important foundation of the final product.
And Signcom's really grown quite a bit to, help out and be there. I mean, I remember when Signcomp first was introduced to my shop, probably about 20 years ago, maybe even 18 years ago. It was really interesting to see, what the possibilities were. And of course, where you're always hesitant, which is sad, but in the signage industry, you're always hesitant to try something new. Is it going to work? Is it going to be a pain? And then I remember once we finally brought our first extrusion in and played with it, we our eyes were open to the possibilities. But I actually want to go back to a thought process that you had there. You said even yourself are having problems with the workforce and getting people in here. Any tricks you can share with us that you found that have worked well for getting a good team together?
I think some of the things that we're learning is it's not maybe all about compensation. I think that's where, most people's heads go to, is we've got to pay more. Somebody else is going to compete with us. We've got an Amazon warehouse that's just down the road from us. And so, that the scale will never be able to compete with them. And so So I think we've kind of taken a different approach, which is to try to build incentives and to build other parts of our culture. So we do a lot of lunches as a team. If we hit our goal for the month, then we're going to do a lunch for everybody here. We try to as much as possible to promote from within. So we've had some recent promotions here. So we want people to see that there's growth for their career. We make sure that we're doing semi-annual and annual reviews with every employee to find out, what they want to do. Do they want to work in the shop today and eventually move into sales? We want people to see that they can have a long and successful career here if they, do a great job and are committed to their teammates. So, those are some of the things. I don't think there's an overall trick to it. I think in the end, it's all about people, and if the people enjoy working with one another, they're likely to, to be bonded and to stay, and as long as it makes sense for them. So, and then we've done other things too, just tactically, right, around different. We've looked at our holiday schedule, and we've added a day this year. We've looked at our PTO schedule for people that are 0 to 2 years, and we've increased that for the people that are newer. And we've done other kind of bonus incentives based on how long people are here, right? So if they hit a certain milestone, then that way we're kind of incentivizing them to stay. So I think there's the trick I'm learning is that you kind of have to throw everything at it to make sure that you are staying ahead of the folks up the road or down the street, and to make sure that you are building a place that people enjoy coming to, and that they feel like they're taken care of, and that you have their best interest at heart.
I really like the semi-annual and the annual reviews. You're talking to them every 6 months to ask them, their thoughts. Where are they at? I think that's really important. A lot of owners these days are not taking the time to listen to their team. Every 6 months, that's a pretty strong frequency, where most companies are once a year, if that. Where you really get the feel, the lay of the land. That's important. I appreciate that. One of the other things that I like too is you're asking them, where do they want to grow? I don't think I've ever heard many owners say that. Where do you want to go? Because you might see attributes in somebody they don't see in themselves. You might point it out, but at the end of the day, if you take an introvert and try and put them into sales, it's never going to work. It's going to be brutal. Yeah. And so that is pretty cool to actually ask the question, time and time again. Where do you want to go? Where do you like? If you like where you're at, great. How can I make it even more enjoyable for you? Those open-ended questions are really good. I like that. I know for my...
And I think it's also trying to be honest with people about where they, to your point on, sometimes people say, well, I've got to go into sales next. That's got to be my next role. And you kind of look and say, hey, we'll get you, let's take you to a trade show, or let's take you to an open house. And because you can tell their personality is not, is probably not a great fit for that role. And so we're trying to, either help them grow into what they want to become, or show them that, maybe your talents are better in a different way. So, yeah, I think, that talent and development is something that every manager struggles with. And, but it's so critical, because people, they need to feel engaged. And that's not, paying someone is only one small piece of their engagement. So.
No, it's really true. Yeah, I remember one of the people, I asked him, I said, how do you do a sales rep? And he says, we stack the deck. We bring a interviewee in, and we have 6 other people that are already employees of the company pretending that they're interviewees too. And then we see if that person can rise the occasion and fit in, or they slump down their chair and be quiet, because if they're quiet, then obviously they can't handle sales. And he goes, that's the fastest way to do it. I'm like, cruel, but very effective.
Yeah. Gotta be creative.
Yeah, well, I like the strategic positioning that you guys are doing with Signcomp, and that's something that, a lot of people don't even hear that term, strategic positioning, but it's very true in the corporate world. We got to make sure we're in the right place at the right time to be able to, take care of these. As more and more people are getting on board with this and saying, hey, I would rather buy the Signcomp extrusion and move forward than have my guys spend another week on the project. How are you guys, spooling up to handle this new demand, whether it's the customer service element or just the physical side of it, or both? I just want to take a second to tell you that this podcast was created for education and to affect your bottom line. The only thing I ask in return is you share it, you like us, you comment on it, give us some feedback and tell us that we're doing a good job. That really helps make this podcast grow a little bit. So if you can do your end, we'll keep bringing you more information, a lot more knowledge.
Yep. So I can answer that in two ways. I think one thing that we're trying to do first and foremost is I think sometimes people see our product guide, which is over 100 pages. Sometimes people hear about extrusion and it's not the way they've done it. Like you said, Aaron, it's always done it one way for many years. And so I think the first thing we've got to do is make Signcomp easy. And so that's a really big focus right now. I think with, everyone's attention span is very short. Everyone's very busy. So we've got to make extrusion easier. So we're doing many things to do that. So the first thing we started with, we did this Signcomp challenge, which was how fast can you build? I think it was like a 3x3 cabinet. And so we had one of our sales managers and one of our sales reps face off. I think the winning time was, just over a minute. Then we took that to the industry and said, hey, can you beat it? Can you beat this minute time? And we had 4 people that were able to beat the time, and we had over 20 people submit videos. So I think the one piece here is just trying to show people that it's easy. There's other things we're going to be doing with our website. There's other things that we're going to be doing just with our marketing and sales process overall. So that's how we're getting more demand, and I think that's working really nicely. And then satisfying the demand, I think that's been a challenge. Our lead time spiked during COVID. We are now in a great spot where we're able to get a kit out the door in 4 to 6 days, which is really good. That we're coming now down to where we were pre-COVID, and I think we'll be on that lower range of 4 days here, which is fantastic. And we're going to add some equipment to do that, and we've been adding capacity within our shop. So we're now working Saturdays every 2 out of 4, or sometimes 3 out of 4 Saturdays a month. And then we're going to add some saw capacity as well through some capital equipment. So that's how we're satisfying the demand. And we're trying to also build some systems along the way. We don't have a CRM system, so we're implementing that right now. And there are some low-hanging ideas that we can tackle here to make our team a little bit more efficient before we have to add new people.
Sure. No, that makes sense. I could definitely see that. New saws and setups on that one. And then I'm guessing you guys have a whole shipping department, freight department.
We do.
That style of product. Yeah, that's not UPS or FedEx on that level.
It can be if it's cut down, but yeah, most of what we're doing, we're creating it and putting it into a trailer. And so, the logistics piece for us is tough. I think customers love that 26.5 foot length. So we want to make sure we're accommodating them, but at the same time, that's the logistics companies don't love that. So, we rely on our distribution network to help us through that. We've got really good national distribution coverage. We've got many long-term, distributors that have been with us for many, many years, like a Glance, that understand how to move extrusion throughout the country. And so we're fortunate to have that. But yeah, I think logistics, it's been an issue. And so one of the things that it's been an issue in terms of the cost. I mean, I think the reliability is there. So one of the things we've also started to do this year is we're going to be giving freight breaks when it reaches a half truckload or a full truckload, and we'll be able to provide discounts when people are ordering in greater quantities. So we're just trying to help people with their ordering patterns and making sure that we're as efficient with the freight as possible, because it is a challenge that we hear about.
Sure. No, I can definitely understand that. Where do you see, actually I want to go back to another thing here. You talked about your book, and I will say I get lost in that thing. I absolutely do. When I see that, I'm like, which way's up? I don't know where to start from. And you had mentioned that you guys are doing a new website, a new website that'll actually kind of walk somebody through it to make it a little bit easier to find.
Yes, that I'll kind of leave it at yes, but yes, we are. It will be, again, we're trying to make everything easier. And I think that will be, there's many people like myself that are new to the industry. We talked about the labor challenges. And so you're going to have to be able to get people up to speed faster. And so that's one of the things that we will tackle with the website is to make it a little bit more point and click versus trying to say, is that the profile I need? And we've got a great customer service team here that can answer any questions, but we're still a smaller company. And so, the more we can put the power in the hands of the user and have them, think through things and be able to find things simply, that's what we're trying to do.
No, I'm excited for that because honestly, I look at that book, my eyes go cross, and I pick up the phone and call you guys. You guys do have a good customer service team. You walk me through it right away. I was giggling the other day. When I say other day, I mean a couple of years ago. But I grabbed it and I called customer service, and they instantly go, "Oh, that's page 73. You're right there." And I went, "Huh?" And I had to grab the book, flip it open. I was like, "Oh, yeah, okay, I got it." And I started laughing. I'm like, okay, if I'm going to really use Signcomp to the full potential, I need to be an employee there for a couple of months to understand it all. So I'm super excited about the website. That's definitely going to speed things up on the end.
Yeah. And what's great, that's what's great about our team for me coming in new. We have many people that have been here 10 years plus. And so you're right. They can list off every profile, page numbers. It really is impressive. But now we got to get it out of their brain and, and make it so, our customers can easily get to it.
Just on that alone, you got your work cut out for you, my friend.
We do. It's it's fun. It is one of those things. You come in and we have so many SKUs, and so you get asked like, do we have too many SKUs? Do we, are we using all these profiles? But I think what we've found is that, really the facing of signs has really changed. It used to be just all rigid facing, and now, we're really seeing the flex face business take off. And so we're just seeing as signs get more complex, we need to respond and make sure that we have products that will work with the industry as it evolves. And so that's why we have so many profiles, and that's why we rarely discontinue them, because just the moment you do, it seems like it pops up that somebody is in need. So it's been something that's been eye-opening to me as to, hey, why do we have so many profiles? And there really is a rhyme and reason to each one. So now we just got to make it easier to navigate.
Sure. I want to ask you a question. If you decline the answer, I totally understand. But the future, where Signcom's going to be in the next 1 to 3 years, where are you projecting? Where do you want to take the company? What is your future goals here?
Yeah, I think the first thing we want to do is we want to get great at marketing. I think historically, Signcomp has been a very good product company, really strong with the product design, the product quality, and the customer service. But I think one challenge we've had is, we have, say, 10 or 12 sales reps across the country, and we have a good distribution network. But, we haven't gotten great at marketing our products. And what I mean by that is, part of it is the website and to make that easy. But the other part of it is just to have, whether it's emails that are going to customers and reminding them of, different ways to implement our product, whether it's, making sure that we have a CRM that is targeting the right customers. And so when our sales force is going out, they really understand the buying patterns of our end users. So I think that's something that's been lacking. And part of that is, as we go through distribution, sometimes we lose track of the end customer and exactly, who's doing what and what needs they have. And so I think that is really what we need to get better at, because when we are in front of people and people find us to be, easy to deal with, the sales come quickly. But, like I said, we're sometimes in the background, and if we're not at the top of somebody's mind, they may go back to the way they've always done it. They may go back to stick building, and it's not because they don't like Signcomp. It's just that it wasn't top of mind. So I think that's something that we'll really try to get great at. And then I think the second piece is we need to get better at innovation. That's really what started this company. Was started in a sign shop. I'm sure you've heard the story, the evolution. It then was pulled out of a sign shop and created its own company. And so that was really, all invention and tinkering and new product development. And we had many years where we launched a lot of new products. And I think that's something where, we've now found new ways to use current products, but we need more product launches to hit the market so we can help our customers. So I think those are the two areas. If I had to, there are more obviously, but those are the two that we need to focus on in the short term. I think to improve our business here and make sure that we're growing on the right trajectory.
I would agree with you. And honestly, that's something that I would do for almost every single company is just that the more education, the more you can educate them on what the end user is going to be, what they're going to work on, you're going to get a lot more out of that. I mean, that's a no brainer. I mean, it doesn't matter which company I talk about, integrated signs or talk about square coil. There's always something I can teach my end customer of what it does or what we can provide that they don't know. So I think it's an ongoing battle that's ever going to be there. One of the things that you were talking about is you were talking and flash back to that. So you had a 3x3 basically contest to build a 3x3. Do you still have the link for that video of one of your sales managers doing that?
Yeah.
All right, send that over. I want to attach that at the end of this podcast and have one of those videos go through that so that they can see this. So for any of the listeners that are on YouTube and watch that, I would love to see that 3x3 and how fast they put that together because I never heard of that. And you're telling me 1 minute. I got to see it for myself on that one.
Yeah. No, it's not a full. They're just taking it to the ratchet straps, and I don't think they're fastening it down and everything yet. But but yeah, I think. It's and it's just fun, right? It's trying to, I think all of us go to ISA and we go to open houses and we go to these things and, they're a little bit stale, I would say at times. And I think we've got a product that is very hands-on and it's going to work with, any kind of face you need. It doesn't matter what kind of LEDs you use or bonding material you use. We can be pretty agnostic here. And so we're just trying to bring some of that fun and some of that energy into the industry because we know that it's out there, right? We've all been to sign shops and there's usually a lot of good banter and always some laughs, but why do, some of these other activities don't have to be boring. And so we're trying to make sure that we're bringing some of that energy and showing that Signcomp is not a old stagnant company, that we are, that we want to grow and that we want to help and that, we want to have fun doing it.
Nice. Well, I appreciate it. We're excited to watch Signcop's growth and excited to get you guys more infused with the foundations of the other sign companies. I love all of it. I love the direction. The signage world is changing, but not nearly at the same pace as the outside world. So it's nice to see companies such as yourself innovating and growing bigger and stronger faster to help us grow along with everybody else. Because, as we meet these clients, they don't understand why we can't give them a sign yesterday. They don't understand why we don't come back and there's a sign on the shelf. We hand it to them inside of 3 minutes. They order a sign and next thing it says, it'll be delivered in 2 minutes. That world doesn't exist for us. And so we have to manage expectations. But at some point in time, every sign company's got to be a little faster too. So this definitely helps out. One question I always like to ask you as a person. So you're the president of Signcomp, obviously a lot of pressure, making sure everything's dialed in and what that. What do you do to grow and make yourself better?
Yeah, I think probably three things that I try to do. I think number one is I try to stay really involved with my kids. So I coach youth basketball. I coached my son's third grade team this past year. And I'm going to coach my 5-year-old's team here starting next week. And the reason I do that is you can explain stuff to an employee and, sometimes and they'll hopefully understand what you're saying. When it comes to a second grader or a 5-year-old, you have to totally change your mindset on how you're explaining the basics of basketball or football or whatever it is. And so it's a really hard challenge, to kind of totally shift your brain on how you explain something simply. And so I've always had a lot of fun doing that. And it's fun to watch kids get better over a season, from not being able to dribble to the end of the year where they're, making some moves that you never thought possible. So that's been fun. I think the other one is I try to learn from other people that are outside of our industry. So I've got a couple different ways that I do that through breakfast with other presidents around Grand Rapids that may be, in a totally different industry and learn from them. And then I usually ask them for book recommendations. And so I try my best to read. I've got a couple books on my nightstand right now that have been good to just kind of get, again, more perspective and help you learn. So those are really the three things I do. The two books that I've got going right now, one is I think it's called Fans First. And it's the story of the guy who bought the Savannah Bananas, which is a minor league baseball team. And it's a really cool marketing story just on how they reinvented how to go to a baseball game. I may have botched the title there, but that's a fun book. And I think the other one I'm reading is The CEO Next Door. And it's just trying to show you different ways to be a better leader. So those are two book recommendations you can.
I like it. I like it a lot. Well, Justin, I really appreciate your time coming on the podcast and sharing more about Signcomp, kind of behind the scenes of where you guys have been and where you're going. Appreciate all your time. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Aaron. I'll drop that link in, and we welcome any more people to take the challenge here, and we look forward to a really fun and exciting and hopefully great 2024.
All right, on. Thank you. You take care.